The exiled and the outcasts, the bioships drifted like dying whales at the edge of human space. Admiral Sarah Chen watched the sensor readings with growing alarm as her flagship, the UES Determination, approached the massive organic vessels. Each ship pulsed with a faint bioluminescent glow, but the light was flickering, weakening with each passing hour. "Ma'am, we're receiving a transmission," reported Lieutenant Kim Torres from the communication station. "It's unusual. The signal seems to be coming from the ships themselves, not from any conventional transmitter." Chen nodded grimly. She had read the classified reports about the Veil 3, though this was humanity's first direct encounter with them, a species that had evolved alongside their technology rather than simply creating it. Their ships were grown, not built, living entities that formed symbiotic bonds with their crews. The transmission crackled to life, and a translated voice filled the bridge. The words carried an undertone of exhaustion and desperation that needed no translation. "Human vessels, this is Elder Kethva of the Veil 3 Wanderer Fleet. We come seeking sanctuary. Our bioships are dying. We have traveled for 7 cycles seeking a world that will accept us. Please, we have nowhere else to go." Chen exchanged glances with her first officer, Commander Rodriguez. They both knew the stories. The Veil 3 had been wandering the galaxy for over 3 years now, rejected by every major civilization they encountered. Their crime being different. Their biotechnology made other species uncomfortable, their neural bonding with living ships seen as unnatural by those who preferred cold, metal, and circuits. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Force. We read you, Elder Kethba. Can you tell us your current status?" A pause, then the reply came, tinged with surprise. "Admiral, our bioships are entering their final cycle. Without proper nourishment from a stable star system, they will die within your solar day. We have 47,000 souls aboard these vessels, including 12,000 younglings who have never known a world beyond the void." Dr. James Wright, the expedition's inner biologist, leaned forward from his position at the science station. "Admiral, if their ships are truly dying, we're looking at a massive humanitarian crisis. These aren't just vessels to them, they're living beings, partners." Chun's jaw tightened. She had read the Galactic Council's advisories about the Veil 3. Biologically contaminated, the Zenthari Empire had called them. Technological perverts, declared the Silicon Collective. The Altrurian Federation had been more diplomatic, simply stating that Veil 3 biotechnology posed cultural incompatibility issues. "Elder Kethva, this is Admiral Chen. We're prepared to offer immediate assistance. Can your ships accept standard energy transfers?" Another pause, longer this time. When Kethva's voice returned, it carried a note of disbelief. "Admiral, you would help us, despite what your Galactic Council allies have said about our kind." Chen felt her anger rise. The Galactic Council, that exclusive club of pure species that humanity had never been invited to join. Perhaps that exclusion would prove to be humanity's greatest advantage. "Elder, the only thing I care about is that you have people in need. We're transmitting coordinates for escort to Lunar Station. Our medical and technical teams will meet you there." The response came immediately, and Chen could hear the emotion in the alien voice. "Admiral Chen, you offer us what 23 worlds have denied. We will remember this kindness for all our generations." As the human fleet began its escort duties, Chen opened a channel to Earth Command. The conversation that followed was heated but brief. Earth's leadership might have political concerns about alienating the Galactic Council, But they wouldn't abandon refugees, especially not with children involved. Within 18 hours, the Veil 3 bioships had settled into stable orbits around Luna. Dr. Wright was among the first humans to board one of the organic vessels, and his reports back to Chen were filled with wonder and amazement. "Admiral, you have to see this to believe it. The ship isn't just alive, it's intelligent. It responds to touch, to emotion. The Veil 3 don't pilot these vessels so much as partner with them. And the ships, Sarah, they're beautiful. Like coral reefs that learn to swim between the stars." But beauty came with challenges. The Veil 3 physiology was unlike anything in human experience, tall and elegant, with 4 arms and skin that shifted color with their emotions. They had evolved to form neural links with their bioships. Many of the refugees were suffering from what their healers called bond sickness, a form of psychological trauma that occurred when their connection to dying ships was severed. Chen found herself walking through the temporary shelters that had been erected on Luna's surface. The Veil 3 moved with a fluid grace that made them seem to dance rather than walk. But there was a sadness to them, a sense of loss that went beyond mere displacement. She paused at one shelter where a young Veil 3 sat alone, her skin flickering between deep purple and silver colors that Dr. Wright had identified as indicating profound grief. "May I sit?" Chen asked through her translator unit. The young alien looked up with large, luminous eyes. "You are the Admiral who saved us." "I am Zaralyn. What happened to your ship partner?" Chen asked gently. Zaralyn's skin darkened to nearly black. "Velthara was barely a seedling when the dying began. She was my first bond, growing with me since childhood. When the energy starvation started," the alien's voice trailed off. Chen placed a careful hand on Zaralyn's shoulder. "I'm sorry for your loss. Your people do not bond with your vessels," Zaralyn observed. "How do you trust them to carry you safely through the void?" It was a question that revealed the depth of cultural difference between their species. For humans, ships were tools, complex and sophisticated, but ultimately replaceable. For the they were partners, family members, extensions of themselves. "We trust in our engineering, our training, and each other," Chen replied. "But perhaps we've been missing something important." Over the following weeks, as the Veil 3 settled into temporary colonies on Luna and Mars, a fascinating exchange began. Human engineers studied the bioships with scientific fascination, while Veil 3 biosculptors examined human vessels with equal curiosity. Dr. Wright made the first breakthrough. Working with HFY, he discovered that the Veil 3 bioships weren't just living creatures, they were essentially biological computers of incredible sophistication. Their ability to process information, adapt to threats, and even heal themselves far exceeded anything in human technology. "The implications are staggering," Wright reported to Chen during one of their weekly briefings. "These bioships can evolve, literally adapting their physical structure to new challenges. A human ship that gets damaged needs repairs. A Veil 3 bioship that gets damaged learns from the experience and becomes stronger." But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Zaralyn, still grieving for her lost ship partner, had been spending time with human children in the lunar colonies. The young humans showed no fear of her alien appearance, and their innocent questions about bioships sparked something in the young Veil 3 Admiral Chen. Zaralyn approached. Her one day, her skin shifting to bright golden color, Wright had identified as indicating excitement and hope. "I have been thinking about what you said, about trusting in each other. What if we could teach humans to bond with bioships? What if we could teach bioships to trust humans? It was a radical idea, one that challenged fundamental assumptions about both species' relationship with technology. But Chen had learned to value radical ideas. What would that require? She asked. Zaralin's skin continued to shimmer gold. First, we would need to understand if human neural patterns could adapt to bioship consciousness. Then, we would need humans willing to open their minds to a completely different way of thinking about the void. Chen smiled. If there was one thing humans excelled at, it was adapting to new situations. Let's find out, she said. The Symbiosis Revolution 3 months later. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the biocultivation chambers beneath Luna's surface, watching something that shouldn't have been possible. In the nutrient-rich pools before her, human-designed bioships were growing alongside traditional Veil 3 vessels. But these weren't copies, they were something entirely new. Dr. Wright emerged from one of the pools, his biosuit glistening with cultivation fluid. The neural mapping is complete. Sarah, we've successfully created a hybrid interface that can accommodate both human and Veil 3 thought patterns. The breakthrough had come when Zaralin volunteered to serve as a bridge between species, her unique position of Veil 3, who understood loss and a young mind still flexible enough to adapt, made her the perfect candidate to help design bioships that could bond with humans. The key insight, Dr. Wright continued, was realizing that human neural plasticity actually gives us an advantage. Where Veil 3 form deep, lifelong bonds with single ships, humans can potentially interface with multiple biovessels, adapting our mental patterns to different ship personalities. Chen nodded, but her attention was focused on the newest creation. In the pools, a sleek bioship that seemed to pulse with eager anticipation. Its surface showed patterns unlike any traditional Veil 3 vessel, geometric designs that somehow seemed both alien and familiar. That one's been asking for you, Zaralin approached, her skin displaying the warm amber that had become her default color since the project began. She calls herself Harmony, and she's been specifically cultivated to bond with human neural patterns. Chen felt a flutter of nervousness. She had agreed to be the first human to attempt a full bioship bond, but knowing and doing were very different things. The process is safe, Kethfer assured her as he joined their group. The Elder Veil 3 had become humanity's primary guide in bioship cultivation. The ship will not force a connection. If your minds are compatible, the bond will form naturally. Chen entered the interface chamber, a spherical room lined with bioneural conduits that would facilitate the connection. As she settled into the organic chair that would serve as the link point, she felt a strange sense of anticipation, not just her own, but something else, something waiting. The moment of contact was unlike anything in human experience. Chen felt her consciousness expand, suddenly aware of systems and processes that had no equivalent in traditional technology. Harmony wasn't just a vessel, she was a partner, eager to explore the void with someone who could appreciate both the wonder and the danger of space travel. Status report, Chen said, her voice steady despite the revolutionary experience she was undergoing. All systems show green, Wright reported, his voice filled with amazement. Neural compatibility is at 97%. Sarah, you're not just controlling the ship, you're communicating with it. The test flight was a revelation. Harmony responded to Chun's thoughts and intentions with a grace that made traditional piloting seem clumsy by comparison. The bioship anticipated course corrections, adapted her structure for optimal efficiency, and even provided tactical suggestions through the neural link. But the real test came 6 weeks later. when long-range sensors detected an approaching fleet that the hegemony had come to human space with a simple message: surrender the Veil 3 refugees or face the consequences. Their massive dreadnoughts, built for intimidation and overwhelming force, took up positions at the edge of the solar system. Admiral Chen, came the transmission from the hegemony flagship: you harbor biological contaminants that pose a threat to galactic stability. Surrender them immediately, or we will retrieve them by force. Chen stood on the bridge of harmony, feeling the bioship's readiness through their neural link. Around them, a fleet unlike any in galactic history prepared for battle. Human tactical thinking merged with Veil 3 biotechnology had created vessels that were simultaneously familiar and revolutionary. Hegemony Fleet, this is Admiral Chen. Of the United Earth Space Force, the Veil 3 are under our protection. If you want them, you'll have to go through us. The hegemony commander's response was predictable. Your primitive fleet cannot stand against our might. We give you one final chance to surrender. Chen smiled, feeling harmony's anticipation through their bond. Let's show them what cooperation can accomplish. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for generations. The hybrid bioships moved like living creatures, adapting their tactics in real time, healing damage as it occurred, and coordinating their actions with a fluidity that traditional fleets couldn't match. Harmony danced between the massive hegemony dreadnoughts, her bioarmor absorbing energy weapon impacts and converting them into additional power for her systems. Through the neural link, Chen felt the ship's joy in the challenge, the exhilaration of proving that cooperation could triumph over domination. But it wasn't just individual ship performance that won the day. The hybrid fleet fought as a single organism, each vessel sharing tactical information through bioneural networks that allowed instantaneous coordination. Human creativity and adaptability merged with Veil 3 biological sophistication created strategies that the hegemony's rigid command structure couldn't counter. Within 4 hours, the hegemony fleet was in full retreat, their proud dreadnoughts no match for vessels that could literally evolve new tactics during combat. In the aftermath of the battle, Chen found herself in the diplomatic chambers of Lunar Station, facing a very different kind of visitor. Ambassador Vextful of the Galactic Council had come to discuss what he termed humanity's concerning technological developments. Admiral Chen, the crystalline being, said, his translated voice carrying undertones of both fear and envy, your alliance with the Veil 3 has created capabilities that disrupt galactic stability. Chen felt Harmony's presence in the back of her mind, the bioship providing emotional support even during diplomatic meetings. Ambassador, we offered sanctuary. 2 refugees that your council members rejected. The technology that resulted is simply a bonus. A bonus that makes your species a potential threat to established galactic order, Vextel replied. The Council demands that you share these bioship technologies with approved civilizations. Zarelin, now serving as humanity's Veil 3 liaison, stepped forward, her skin displayed patterns of defiant gold. The Council rejected us. They called us contaminated, unworthy, dangerous. Now they want our gifts. Chen nodded. Ambassador, we're willing to share our developments with any species that agrees to provide sanctuary for refugees and outcasts. No discrimination based on appearance, technology, or cultural differences. The terms were simple but revolutionary. Any species that wanted access to human Veil 3 biotechnology had to open their worlds to the galaxy's rejected populations. Within months, Dozens of minor species that had been marginalized by the major powers found new homes within humanity's growing alliance. The scorched silicon-based beings, whose crystal bodies had been shattered by solar radiation, found that human biotechnology could create living vessels capable of withstanding stellar environments. The void touched, whose exposure to dark matter had made them pariahs among matter-based species, discovered that bioships could adapt to their unique energy signatures. Each new species brought their own perspectives and capabilities, creating a cascading effect of innovation and adaptation. What had started as an act of simple compassion had become a revolution in galactic civilization. A year after the first contact with the Veil 3, Chen stood in the observation deck of New Harmony Station, watching bioships of dozens of different configurations move through space like schools of exotic fish. Each vessel represented not just technological achievement, but a story of acceptance and cooperation. Kethva joined her at the viewing port, his elderly form moving with the dignity that came from seeing his people's salvation transformed into something greater. "Admiral," he said, his voice carrying deep satisfaction, "when we first approached your fleet, we sought only survival. We never imagined we would find evolution." Chen smiled, feeling the presence of multiple bioships through the neural networks that now connected much of humanity to their living vessels. "Elder, we've learned that the strongest foundations are built on compassion. Everything else is just engineering." As if in response to her words, the bioships outside began to pulse in synchronized patterns, their bioluminescence creating a display of beauty that could be seen throughout the solar system. It was a celebration of life, diversity, and the power of choosing acceptance over fear. The galaxy had rejected the Veil 3 and countless other species for being different. Humanity had embraced them all, and in doing so, had become something greater than anyone had imagined possible. Stars had rejected them, but humanity had offered shelter, and in that simple act of kindness had changed everything.